Hello everyone, we've done the law of sines, now let's do the law of cosines. So remember, when we do law of sines, that's when you have either two angles in a side, so angle side angle or angle angle side, or the ambiguous case side side angle, which you gotta be careful with that one. We're going to use law of cosines when we're given two or three sides and the included angle, so SAS or SSS. If you're given all three sides, then you can solve the triangle using the law of cosines. If you're given one angle between two sides, you can also use the law of cosines. So let's try a couple of these. Formula looks really scary, but notice it's kind of the same thing every time. A, and then the other two, B, C, B, C. It's the other ones. It's not A. If you look at this one, B, and then it's the other two, A, C, A, C. And since these are being multiplied or added, it actually doesn't matter what order you put them in, so you can kind of remember all three of them pretty easily. You will have the formulas, but I just want to remind you, they all kind of look the same. So this one says we've got a triangle here. We better draw it, and it'll help me see what we got. Let's see, A, B, C. A, B, C. We know little a is 11, we know little c is 14, and we know b is 34 degrees. So what information are we given? Side, angle, side. So SAS means we're using the law of cosines. We are trying to find the missing angles and sides. So let's find first the missing side. Let's find little b. So we're going to find little b. That's the one that has b squared. So we're saying b squared is a squared, 11 squared, plus c squared, 14 squared, minus 2 times 11 times 14, 2ac. So 11 times 14 times the cosine of angle B, 34 degrees. Look at that. We got everything we need. We just got to type it all in. And then we'll take the square root, and we're good. So 11 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 11 times 14. If you use parentheses, you stay out of trouble. Cosine of 34. Square root, like 7.5 or something. 7.85. B is 7.85. So now we know this is 7.85. Now, to find the missing angle, if you look at what information we have, if I was going to find the missing angle, I have angle side side, or I have angle side side. So if I want to do law of sines, I'm going to end up with this ambiguous case. So here's my suggestion. If you start using law of cosines, then you are going to commit to law of cosines. So don't now switch into law of sines. Let's stick with law of cosines to find our missing angle. So to find our missing angle, with these law of cosines, this is the trickier part when you're trying to find the angle. So let's try and find angle C. So to find angle C, that's going to be this one. We're going to need to use that formula. So what do we know? C squared. Do we know C squared? Yes. 14 squared equals A squared. Do we know that? Yes. 11 squared plus B squared. Do we know that? Yes. 7.85 squared minus 2 times 11 times 7.85. What we don't know is the cosine of C. So what we're going to have to do is get the cosine of C by itself. Now, this stuff is all being multiplied, so I'm going to do that last. First thing I'm going to do is take care of these squares. And if you're wondering, like, this kind of looks like the Pythagorean Theorem. That's because it is a squared plus b squared equals c squared, but you have this extra stuff in here because it's not a right triangle. So we'll do this minus 7.85 squared. All right. So now we have 13.3775 on the left side. So 13.3775 equals this 2 times 11 times 7.85 times the cosine of C. So now I'm going to divide by all of that. That's some number. If you want to figure it out first, you can, or you can just do divide by and then put parentheses, but you do need to make sure that you do all of that in the denominator. 7.85. And we got 0.07. That doesn't sound right. Let me try to type this again. 14 minus, okay, that's 13. That's cool. Okay, let's do inverse cosine. Let's see what happens. That's the inverse cosine, so what is the angle then? 85 degrees? I don't think that's right. Let's just keep going with it and see. C is 85 degrees. All right, then what would, now we can find angle A without too much issue. So angle A would be 180 minus 85 minus 34, which is 61 degrees. So this is 61 degrees. Okay, so we go through the law of cosines, and let's see, does that make sense? Is the biggest angle across from the biggest side? Yes, but then the smallest angle is not across. So something's wrong here. I think I need to type this in again. I'm going to try this one more time and see what happened. So let me clear this out. I'm going to do, okay, did I use the formula right? 14 squared, A is 11, B is 7.85, minus 2AB cosine C. Okay, I feel good about that. I think I might have typed something wrong. 14 squared minus 11 squared minus 7.85 squared divided by, this is negative, negative 2 times 11 times 7.85. And that gets me the inverse, that's the same thing, inverse cosine. Oh, it's negative, so that does actually make a difference. Okay, it's 94. I guess I forgot the minus sign, that's what it was. So this is 94.4 degrees. Okay. I'm glad I worked through that though. This is 94.4. And then we'll do the same thing. 180. Oh, careful. 180 minus 94.4 minus 34. And you get 51.6. That's better. 51.6. All right, that makes more sense to me. So I'm like, something doesn't seem right. So biggest angle, biggest side, smallest angle, smallest side. Cool. That works better. Awesome. You do need to make sure that you remember the minus sign when you type it in because it is negative. If you don't, then you're going to end up in the wrong quadrant, and who knows what can happen. You get all kinds of different answers that you just saw. Let's try another one. We are given, looks like side, side, side. Side, side, side. I'll draw the picture anyway just to be safe. A, B, C. What do we know? Little a is 12, little b is 27, little c is 20. All right, we're trying to find some angles. So we know the sides. We're trying to find angles. This is side, side, side. So to find an angle, I'll just do a first. So a squared, I'm going to do this one. The only thing I don't know is the cosine of angle a. So a is 12 squared equals b squared is 27 squared. C squared is 20 squared minus 2. BC, so 27 times 20, and that's times the cosine of A. So to type this in, we're going to do it right in one quick effort. We're not going to struggle as much as we did last time. Minus 27 squared minus 20 squared. Okay, there's the first part. I took care of all that. Now I need to divide by negative 2 times 27 times 20. So 0.91 is the cosine of A. If I want to find A, I will do the inverse cosine, and I will get 24.2. So that means A is 24.2 degrees. Okay, we got one, but we got to keep going. So let's just do the same thing, but find angle B. So angle B, here's the formula, same thing. B squared is 27 squared equals, we're just flipping them basically. A is 12 and C is 20 minus 2, 12, 20 cosine, but this is cosine of B now. So to find B, you kind of get the hang of it once you've done one of them. Once you've done one of them wrong, you should hopefully get the hang of it. 27 squared minus 12 squared minus 20 squared divided by negative 2 times 12 times 20. That's the cosine of B. So again, inverse cosine, we'll get B is 112.7. So B is 112.7. Now, if you know those two, you don't need to do law of cosines anymore because once you have two of them, you really have all three to subtract from 180. So to find the third one, I'll just subtract 180 minus 112.7 minus 24.2, and angle C is 43.1. So you don't have to do it 3 times. I guess a little bit better, but this is probably a good time where using the calculator to write a program would be a good idea. If you watch my other video, that might be something worth doing, especially when you're trying to find the missing angles. So keep that in mind. Let's do maybe one more together. What do we got here? SAS, side, angle, side. Okay, what are we trying to find? Just solve the triangle, I suppose. So let's find this missing side. That would be c. So I'm trying to use c squared. C squared is a squared, which is 212 plus b squared, 388. These are big numbers. Minus 212, 388 times the cosine. Do I know big C? I do. 82.4. So this is going to be the easy one. Solve for the side. No big deal. Oops. All right. Try it on the calculator. 212 squared plus 388 squared minus 2 times 212 times 388 times the cosine of 82.4. So this is a crazy looking formula, but it's easy to use. Square root that because that's c squared, and I get c is 416.81. So c is 416.81. Okay, we got c. What else are we trying to find? This is 416.81. I guess we find a missing angle. All right, let's find a missing angle then. I'll do angle B. So angle B, if I'm going to find the angle B, I need to use that formula. So b squared, I know b squared. B squared is 388 equals a squared. I know a squared, 212 squared, plus c squared. I know that. I just found that. 416.81 squared minus 212, 416.81, and that's the cosine of b. So I'll do my subtraction first. 388 squared minus 212 squared minus 416.81 squared. Could have used that guy. Divided by negative 2 times 212 times 416.81. That's the cosine. So I want to find the angle. I'll do the inverse cosine of that, and it's 67.3. So angle B is 67.3 degrees. This is 67.3. And now to find angle A, I'll subtract 180 minus 67.3 minus 82.4. 30.3. There you go. So my angle's out at the 180 is the shortest side across from the smallest angle. Shortest side is 212, smallest angle is 30. Yes, biggest angle, biggest side, looks good. All right, feel like that's a pretty good looking triangle. So you guys have a couple of practice problems there. Go ahead and get those done. Make sure you get your checkpoints done, and make sure you hit that like and subscribe.